All right, today on our podcast, we have Dave Ozubko here from Edmonton, Alberta. Thanks, Dave, for joining us. And I'm talking to a whole bunch of team leads about how and what their teams look like. So can you talk to me about what your background is in terms of like how you got into real estate and then how you started a team? What inspired you to start a team?
Ooh. All right, Melody. Well, quick little background. 20-year hospitality veteran, restaurant, nightclubs, all of that fun stuff. At the age of early 40s, I had what would be considered a pretty good gig with a big restaurant group here in the city. I was a partner with them. We had 8 locations, and I was responsible for managing almost 400 people, which became to be a constant challenge and headache every day. And it also hit my peak in terms of earning potential and growth. So it was a discussion with myself on, what are we going to do? How are we going to grow? And how do we find excitement back, or how do we get excitement back in our life? And I had a lot of friends that had done really well transitioning from hospitality to real estate. And I had 2 years of my ed degree. I had thought about going back, but being a school teacher in today's climate and environment truthfully didn't excite me. And, being that 40-year-old guy applying for a job also didn't sound too exciting. So I said, you know what? I'm going to jump in this real estate thing head first, all in. And, that's now been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think this is now my ninth year in real estate. And it's truly been one of the best decisions I've ever made. And it's a career that I really do love and enjoy.
Yes, I remember when I first met you.
We did.
Can't
Yeah.
believe
You were at
it's
the very
been
beginning.
like
We came
that
from
many
Paul.
years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We bought a
Oh.
printer together and never got to use it.
We will not talk about this printer.
Jason Paul, are you listening?
Yeah, that was a mistake. But
Yeah,
hey,
that's
we got to
okay.
know each other from the printer. Everyone listening is like,
And
what on
honestly,
earth are they talking
I think
about?
we've been friends now for 8 years, and I'll say you've been very helpful with my career in terms of industry knowledge, collaboration, sharing. You've been very, very kind to myself, to my team, to my wife, and it's been a pleasure getting to know you more personally and intimately.
Yeah, I love it. So tell me, I know obviously I know you. People listening don't know you. So Dave is married and he and his wife were working as a team, I would call it. Team, I did the little thing. But because a lot of couples who are married, some of them do in real estate work as a team. But then you guys decided to expand into an actual, like, let's bring people from the outside in. What inspired you to do that to begin with? What was that vision?
Yeah. It's funny. So my wife and I have worked together for 14 plus years now in a full time capacity. And, obviously that can present lots of challenges on the relationship and business. I'd say our relationship today is better than it's ever been. And I would also say that our business today is better than it's ever been. And it's come through lots of challenges, lots of obstacles. We've been through a ton of shit together. We've had to really learn how to effectively communicate. Um, but what it was, it kind of happened by accident, actually. So
No one
Maria
wants
and
to
I
hear that.
no, it's true actually. So Maria and I had our own little thing going, and we were working as a team, a little bit of a partnership, and we were selling quite a bit of real estate. It was nice, but you don't ever get time. And if you want to, work hard in this industry, it's extremely demanding. It's 7 days a week. It's all hours. This is a high stakes game, right? So when your buyers or sellers are all in, you kind of need to be there to help and support. And we finally got to a point where our business is going well. We were doing sales. We were now in a position where we could afford to do a few things, travel and enjoy life. But every time we went away, I was always stuck on my phone, doing this, doing that, and not really being present on something that we had worked very hard to earn. And that was super frustrating and challenging. My wife hated it. I was okay with it. I could kind of deal with it, but it wasn't as fun as I wanted. But, anyways, just before COVID, I had a Sarah who's on our team. Sarah reached out to me, and I knew Sarah from the animal rescue community. We met Sarah volunteering with one of the rescues, Heart, the Humane Animal Rescue Team. And Sarah had reached out to me with questions on the real estate industry as she was thinking of getting into the industry and becoming an agent. And she wanted to chat with me and ask a bunch of questions as she was someone that she liked and respected. And I thought that was cool. So we went for casual late afternoon snack and Q&A. Sarah came meticulously prepared with questions and all this stuff. We ended up chatting for about an hour and a half. And at that time, she had been interviewing with a few teams and trying to get the understanding on how teams works, the system, brokerages, fee compensation, all that stuff. And at the end of our conversation, I kind of said to her, I said, Sarah, like, I don't know where you're going with this, but I have to check with my wife first, but I almost think we would be a really good fit. And sure enough, that was the beginning of that. And that's where, the vision of the actual Dave Sells team really kind of took off. And that was also a really great decision and has been awesome for us. And I think for our teammates.
I remember you asking me to help you with a little team dynamic session because, I mean, having a married couple and then having someone come into that is like, I would say you're very successful at it because she's still here. How many years later now, Sarah
or my wife?
Both. Well, your wife is still there, but Sarah is still with you. Are they not in the same team?
She is.
Yeah.
Sarah and her husband Reed, wonderful people, just had their first baby girl, Penelope, about a month ago. Sarah is currently on maternity leave, living her life, being the best mom and parent ever, and we are absolutely supportive on that. Plan is for Sarah to come back, but she's on mat leave right now.
Yeah, which is great. I think you hit on something. The two of you as a married couple, you and Maria, though you're successful, it's like, well, you're both on the same team. So if you want to go on vacation, you're not going to leave one behind. You're going to go on vacation together. So yeah. It makes sense. So when did you bring on, you have another team member now, right?
Yeah, Haley joined us late last year. And I had the pleasure of working with Haley in a full-time capacity in my previous industry in the restaurant group. We had opened up a couple of locations. Haley had worked with us there for, I think, 2, 3, 4 years. Extremely hardworking, good with people, would show up, stay late, service orientated, fun to be around. And Maria and I were at a Oilers hockey game last year, so 2023, before the playoffs. And we had saw Haley at the game. She told us this now the other day. She said, well, I actually saw you guys. I came running up to you because I was getting my license and I wanted to see if there was a way for us to maybe work together. So we ran into Haley at a hockey game. We started chatting and had a couple of follow-up meetings and appointments to discuss the real estate industry, possibility of working together, joining our team. And then that kind of happened late last year. And Haley's having a great start to the year. She's doing a fantastic job, and I think she's going to be super successful in our industry. We're really happy to have her with us. Grateful for that.
You have a very organic, growing team, which I think is something to note because a lot of teams will intentionally go, like, put out ads, do interviews, try to seek it out. But you guys have just been kind of organically going through a relationship, right? Like through your contacts. What does your team look like in terms of the culture because of that with all of you?
You know, it's kind of cool, Melody. Like, initially it was just about finding a new job, paying the bills, and creating a bit of a career. And now I feel like we've got this little business that's flourishing into something pretty cool. And I feel like we're going to be able to provide a lot of opportunity and growth for our team, but also produce great results for our clients. And, one thing that I struggled with in the hospitality industry was, when you're managing so many people, it's hard to have, everybody going in the right direction with the same vision, philosophy, customer service, core values, all that kind of stuff. But, our vision is really small, intimate, personal, great people, communicative, fun, get shit done. And, let's have a good time when we're doing it. So it's been really great how things have unfolded. And, our coach is saying, you need to hire, you need to hire. And I'm a little bit slow to hire because I feel the dynamics and the fit of our team are really, really important. And whoever that we do bring on, or whoever wants to join us or is going to join us, needs to be a good long-term fit, because I'm also not interested in a lot of turnover. And you know what? We're not selling 500 houses a year where we need like so many people. Like, let's be realistic. There's teams out there that have so many team members, and it's kind of like, okay, well, who's doing what? But anyways,
Mm-hmm.
that's another discussion. So that's where we're at currently.
Well, and I think that's, hire slow is what you're supposed to do. So you're
Fire
doing
fast.
that and fire fast. That's
Yeah.
why I don't have a team. I was hiring fast and firing fast. So I think
Hard. It's hard for
it's
business. It's hard
it's
for
hard.
clients.
It's hard for, when you come into the real estate business, you don't necessarily think about, hey, I'm going to start a team. You didn't come, most agents I talk to come into the business because they want to help people. They want a career change. They want to do something different. Um, what do you think your leadership style is when it comes to your team? Like, obviously you have a female based team. So I make the joke that you're like the aspiring Alan G, although he has a male on his team now. What do you think your leadership style is like when it comes to working with these girls?
You asked a question before that. What was it? I'm trying to think. What was it? You
Was my
said,
question before? What inspired you to have a team?
you know what? So ironically, when I got into real estate, I didn't want a team because I didn't want to manage people. I got to a point where I was so frustrated of cleaning up everybody else's mess, apologizing for everyone else's mistakes. And not to say that I didn't make mistakes, because I've made plenty, but always owning everyone else's shit.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the struggle with the team. And then the realization of a team when it came down, okay, well, now we're finally not successful, but stable. We're financially stable, and we're in a position where we can do things. And it became like, well, now what? We've worked so hard to build something, but now we can't really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And this industry, and I think life is about, working so hard on something, a goal, a priority, an objective. But then when you get there, you have to embrace it and enjoy it. Otherwise, what's the point of putting in all that effort, right?
Right.
The culture on the team, hard for me to say because I guess I would run it, but I don't run it because my wife Maria is very, very active in the business, and I'm so grateful for everything that she's done and what we've been through, and to see her really flourish and mature into this boss, who's now handling so much of her marketing. She's got a ton of clients that she's bringing in. Like, Maria elevating her game is really going to elevate our business. So the culture is, you know, we're focused on results,
Mm-hmm.
but the results don't come at the sacrifice of the client. The client and the customer always have to come first. And I learned this in hospitality. In hospitality, I learned if you take care of the client, you treat the client well, you do a good job, you provide value, you're going to build client and customer loyalty and repeat referral. And the same thing on our end here. We're about, what's in our client's best interests? How do we ensure that you're, really, really well taken care of? And we want to ensure that, your purchase or your sale is truly right for you and your family, and then everything else will follow suit. So the client satisfaction and customer service is really, really important. I try and parallel our customer service principles to what I was trying to do and executing in restaurants and hospitality, because that's all service, it's all customer experience, it's how you make people feel. Because there's 4,000 agents in the city, and I'd say a lot of them lack communication and customer service skills.
Right. So,
Also trying to teach the team or the team. And Sarah was great for this. You know what? Sarah brought in a new set of balance and new way of thinking from Maria and I. And Sarah was focused on, okay, well, let's make sure that we take a day off. Let's do some time blocking. Let's leave Sundays for family. Things like that I had always thought of, but I was just not confident enough to implement or execute. So for me now, it's like, Haley's a partner that she works with. Well, he's been out of town working for 3 weeks. So now he's back in town. We're making sure that they've got 4 or 5 days to go to Montana camping. Like, we need to have balance. There has to be balance in our life. If there's no balance, what's the point?
Well, what's the point of having a team if you can't leverage the team? I think that's
Totally.
really amazing to be able to support your team members, not just them supporting you and Maria to go off on your trips all the time, but you guys are
Right?
also supporting them to be able to go on a mat leave or to go on a trip with their husband. So I think that's a great culture. Do you guys do regular meetings or get
We do.
togethers?
We do two team meetings twice a month, first and third Tuesday of every month. And today, once a month, Haley and I have a one-on-one session where we will go over kind of any type of things that she would like to discuss. Today, we went over new construction. Haley's new to the business, so doesn't fully understand the process of new construction, how that works, our involvement, negotiation, landscaping deposits, RPRs, all that kind of fun stuff. So we spent about 40 minutes today going over that. Then we discussed marketing, lead generation. So that's our current system is set up. So two team meetings a month, and then her and I will do a one-on-one once a month. And
Okay.
her and Maria spend a lot of time together as well.
What do you guys do for training when it comes to like communication skills? I know a lot of you come from it naturally because of your experience in the hospitality industry, but do you do anything for them? Like, I know you are coached, but do they get any sort of training to help them with their customer service and their communication?
No, there's been no formalized training, Mel, on customer service and everything else. However, everyone on our team comes from a high
Mm-hmm.
customer service hospitality background. Sarah was also a hospitality professional with a few organizations. Um, so service is really, really a discussion commonly in our team meetings.
Yeah.
And like we've got 220 five-star Google reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good, right?
Yep.
And I think Haley has 7 or 8 this year, and she just got her license.
Yep.
So, that goes to show her. I think it shows that our focus on that client satisfaction and experience, and our focus on service. But we don't
Um,
have a formalized training program. Definitely not.
right. So, but when do you guys have opportunities to practice? I mean, in your team meetings that you have twice a month, do you guys talk about um, current things that are happening in the industry or the market? What are the kind of conversations you guys usually have in those meetings?
Yeah, I mean, our team meetings will focus on some KPIs, like the key performance indicators on your business, appointments, sales, pending, close, all that kind of fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, then there's a lot of focus on, okay, what are we doing to generate new leads or potential new clients? There's a discussion on that. Um, Problem solving, certainly, where are we stuck on current things? There's been lots of change in our industry as well in the last couple of years. So, embracing that change, whether it be technology, administration, buyer representation, there's lots going on. So, certainly leveraging that. But I will also give Remax River City a little bit of a toot. We've been with Remax River City now for a year and a half, and these guys run a really, really tight business. Once a month, they have a brokerage meeting, and they go over all of the, updates, what's happening in our industry, anything coming from RECA, policy, procedures, and whatnot. So we certainly, as a team, try to attend those meetings collectively as well.
Right. So you're getting lots of different experiences. Have you ever gone to a Tom Ferry summit? I know you're coached with him.
I haven't, Melody. I
Oh
haven't,
my
and I
gosh.
it's our
You
first one.
need to go. So I
Yeah, we're
used
going.
to take my team with me because I think it's really important. Tom was always staying ahead of the curve. That was one thing I appreciated was like what is happening like around the corner. Um, remember that back in the day when everyone was making fun of me being on Facebook Live? That came from
I
Tom
know.
Ferry, right? It's like get on video. If you're not on video, get on video. And now if you're not on video, it's very peculiar. Like what's wrong with this agent that doesn't have Instagram or Facebook's almost becoming to the
Absolutely.
wayside. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your guys' main lead sources? Is it just primarily Sphere because of your relationship based, or do you guys kind of play with other lead sources too in your team?
It's funny. Like you bring that up because this morning when I was chatting with Haley, we were just kind of dissecting her business a little bit and where the business is coming from. And I went through our CRM from the last 24 months, and I looked at our kind of transaction resource on where the business was coming from. And, 75, 80% of it is still repeat referral, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Um, We get definitely some business from the animal rescues that we work with. Great. We get to work and help them, and they support us a little bit. We do lots of listings, so we get quite a few sign calls, realtor.ca leads. We don't spend a ton of money on SEO or click or pay per click. We do spend money on ads for our clients in marketing their homes, which will generate leads, but we're not spending money a month on paid advertisement. So most of our lead source is organic through repeat referral, sign calls, open houses, that kind of stuff. And then
So
we've got obviously like some strategic partners with lawyers, financial analysts, stuff like that.
when it came to bringing on a team member, because when people typically are building teams, they're going, how do I provide leads, right? Because typically people are saying, I want leads from my team. When you talk to Sarah, when you talk to Haley, what was the expectation that they had coming on to your specific team versus like another team?
Well, when I met with Sarah, we were pretty concise on how we were going to be able to support her career, her joining our team, and the leads that we were going to be able to provide her. Now, because we don't spend a ton of money on SEO and everything else, or no money on SEO, we don't get a lot of cold leads.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the leads that we get are quite warm, and we're able to convert those at a higher level than the guy who's texting you at 2 in the morning and wants to view your new listing. A little bit different of a character. Um, and with Haley now, so we've got Haley working with a lot of our buyer clients. I've brought her in and had her go through the whole experience and process from the initial buyer's consultation, buyer's representation paperwork, going out and showing houses, opening doors, preparing market comparables in the uh, steps of producing and putting together an offer, then how to effectively put together an offer to purchase, how to structure all that with all the key components between price, possession, terms, additional terms, all that kind of fun stuff. Sitting in on a bunch of our home inspections. Like Haley's getting a ton of experience right now that a lot of new agents wouldn't get coming in. And I think right now, especially like in our market, as a new agent to get any type of experience, like if you're a buyer's agent right now and you're new to the industry and you finally got a buyer, and then you've been with this buyer now, we're just role playing by the way, Melody.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You've had this buyer now for 2-3 weeks. You guys have gone out and looked at 7-8 houses, and finally the one comes up. And then it says offers being presented on Sunday at 6 p.m. Now you're
Hang
like,
on.
what am I going to do? What does this even look like? How do I present this offer?
Mm-hmm.
So you may have
How do you
found the house.
win?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think that's where we bring in a lot of benefit and a lot of value.
Yeah.
We've got a great proven strategy on how to compete in multiple offers. Price is obviously a big piece of it, but there's a lot more to it than just price
Mm-hmm.
in getting those deals together. So I think with all of that, Haley's had a really, really good first half of the year, and we're excited for the fall winter market because I think it's going to be very busy.
Yeah. That actually makes me think of my next question, which was, what is your success that you're most proud of your team? Like in terms of being at Team Leader, what makes you the most proud so far?
You know what? Like it's actually seeing everybody do well and
Yeah.
kind of championing a team or a cause, and like our clients are we get hired by our clients because they want to achieve a desired goal or result.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we get paid to do. We get paid to execute and deliver. So that I find super fun and exciting because there's a little bit of emotion and pressure in this market. So achieving those successes, but then also when everyone's doing well, having a good time, having fun, and Haley's learning and growing, Maria's kicking butt, our clients are happy. For me, that's like utopia. That's where I want to be.
Right. So what if someone says, Dave, I want to join your team. Do you have a strategy in place where you're going to grow, or are you planning to just stay with the size you are? What if like the perfect agent comes and calls you the next day? Like by the time this
Let's do it.
airs in a few months, what if, are you going to have more agents? Do you see yourself having more agents?
You know what? Our plan is to grow to a couple more agents, 100%. Yeah, I think we have something here that we can scale intimately with really high end, quality, reliable, trustworthy, credible, competent people, and doing it to that level, and creating a bit more of a team for myself. I think doing more of my coach has had me start thinking as the Dave Sells CEO. So I've
Mm-hmm.
been writing in my day timer every day, Dave Sells CEO, Dave Sells CEO, rather than just being the listing agent, the buyer's agent, showing houses, really, really important roles and responsibilities. As the CEO, I have to think bigger picture. I have to
Yeah.
think marketing. I have to think online presence. I have to think lead generation. I have to think, all of this stuff, agent onboarding. Um,
Do you have an assistant right
yeah,
now?
we do. We
Oh,
do.
wow. Yay for you. Look how excited you are. Every team, every person has an assistant is always usually happy. So now
You know
you have
what?
someone taking care of that.
We got two.
Woohoo.
And this happened last year. Do you want to hear the story?
Yes, I do. Yep.
Okay. So my wife had kind of been the assistant for the longest time.
I know that.
Just kind of made sense. It worked for us, but you know, Maria has got a lot of more value with client facing appointments, meeting with people. She's great. She's communicative. She knows her stuff, and she's been with me in this industry now for 8 years. So she's extremely knowledgeable. But Maria was doing a bunch of the kind of the back end administration tasks, which are all time sensitive, super important, but they're not really like a revenue generator. Last year, when we were going to Greece and Italy, we had brought on a virtual assistant. We had brought on the virtual assistant. We started on our trip. The person from the virtual assistant company reached out to us and said, "Hey, the person that you got isn't working too well. I think we need to, make a change." So we were on the train from this is a cool story. We were on the train from, I think, Rome to Venice. We had like a 2 or 3 hour train ride. We had booked 2 interviews on the train ride
Oh my gosh.
that we did in a hospitality cart with the VAs on our phones while we were away. And we ended up bringing on a new VA, Fem. And so we brought in Fem, and we have Fem with us now today. Fem is awesome, like the best. Fem works with us for 6 hours a day. We've now got her trained in what would be more of a transaction coordinator, so to speak. But what really changed was last September, I ended up rupturing my patella tendon at a Remax conference and needed knee surgery, and I was stuck home in bed for 3 months. As the primary driver of the business, I was the one out showing houses, booking all the appointments, but I was no longer able to do that. So it forced us to reconfigure how we were doing business. I had to get Maria into more of my role. We needed help doing Maria's role because, truthfully, that's just not my thing. So we shuffled a bunch of stuff around. And in doing so, I think it's been a game changer for us in terms of our efficiency, communication, follow up, tightening up on all of our standard operating procedures. And now we have a second VA that's helping with a lot of our online marketing, social media, database management, things like that. So we've got two people now that are almost 40 hours a week.
That's Dave. Do you remember when we met? Do you remember what I
Yeah.
had mentioned that you should do?
Took me 7 years to figure it out.
I was like, I'm pretty sure we talked about Maria has much better skills doing other things than being an assistant. But it's convenience, right? When you have somebody there, it is a bit of a
Sure.
trust issue too, because you trust Maria, but you don't know
Yeah.
this other person. And you have to spend the time training this virtual assistant. I can't believe you did that on a trip. That's insane. And I think it's interesting that
And
you're forced, like your injury forced you to make the changes that you probably should have made anyways.
yeah,
Just
totally.
expedite it for you.
You know, I I've found and realized, like, in the past, I've been through a lot of stuff personally, and through some of these really tough, challenging periods comes the opportunity for improvement and greatness. And, you know, it's just forcing us to think outside the box, to reconfigure things, to go through all these difficult times to end up coming out somewhere so different, right? But
Mm-hmm.
we all have our own